Hey guys, Orlando Santiago here. Welcome back. And I have my model once again, Melanie, here to join me. And what we're going to be doing today is some contouring. Basically with the contouring, what we're going to do is kind of show you how to deposit it, whether it's going to be with cream or powder or liquid, right? And we're going to show you the difference in between all of them, right? And which one should be appropriate for which kind of makeup technique. So what we're going to do is I'm actually going to start off with a contour that is actually driven by creams or foundations, right? This is important because most people tend to shy away from creams, or if they do, they really don't use them the way they're supposed to because they're afraid of the texture. And I think this is important because even though the complexion is done, right, you can always go back in and add texture, okay? So when you do that, I like to try and match her color. So what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to go in and see what colors I know work for her and her complexion. So for example, if I take these two colors, I'm going to go ahead and see that that works for me, right? That works. It blends and melts right in. I can't see any difference, right? So this works. Now, what I want to do is take that color, which is perfect for her complexion right now, and I'm actually gonna go a little bit deeper. So what does that mean? Well, I'm gonna go this way. So at least 2 shades darker is what's gonna create somewhat of a contour that looks realistic for her. Doesn't matter which shade, but you always wanna go from their complexion 2 shades darker, you'll always hit a good number, okay? So this is her color, and I'm gonna go deeper. So right up here, and I like to still, even then, I still mix it in with her complexion. So that it's never too dark. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is saturate it, right? Saturate my brush, buff it around, and I'm going to look at the areas that I'm going to contour. First of all, I'm going to look at where the positioning is. So again, going from the base of the lip, straight or diagonal, back to the top of the ear. That gives me a guide as to where I should be and how and what direction I should actually start to contour, okay? So once again, I'm going to start just depositing. I like to start from the back, and I really like to sculpt my way forward. Why do I start in the back? Well, I start in the back because if I deposit too much color, at least it's back here and not in the front. It's a lot harder to kind of take that away once you've deposited a darker color. So always be safe, play it safe, and come from back to front. Okay, few strokes, right? Now smile. See how this ball, there's a ball right here. When you smile, you don't want to go past the ball. So it's almost as if you want to curve up with the ball right here, okay? If you go past, it looks a little weird and linear. It doesn't make any sense, okay? So what I like to do is use that as my guide. Then I can go back and blend it. So I'm using a basic brush with nothing on it to actually go back and shape it. Okay. And I'm just stippling, right? When you stipple, you're just blending that product into the skin in a really nice way. Okay. Let's see, turn that way, beautiful. So what I can do is now you want to continue to separate. So now I can go back and say, all right, this was her complexion, right? I can go maybe a little bit lighter and I can draw that line to separate it. So watch this. Okay, I'm actually highlighting right underneath in order to create that illusion of skin. Again, highlighted above, contoured, and highlighted underneath again. That ensures that my contour is where it's supposed to be and that it's not too strong. So what I've done is I've went ahead and contoured the other side the same way with foundation. right? So as you can see, both sides are now contoured, and there's a direct connection with where the highlight is, where the contour is. And now what I'm going to do is set this. And what does that mean, setting? Well, I'm going to grab a translucent powder that I've been using throughout my segments, and I'm going to matte it out, right? Set it and matte it out. I'm not going to leave it shiny or dewy, and I'm just going to go right over with colorless powder. And what that does, it kind of pushes it back into the skin and kind of creates a beautiful shadow that looks realistic and more like depth. Now, one of the other things that I'm going to do after this is, because I set it with translucent powder or colorless powder, I'm going to go back and add powder over this. The powder that I'm going to use now is actually a taupe, which simulates a more realistic shadow. Okay, I wouldn't have been able to do it prior because that pigment of the taupe would stick right onto that darker color. So when I set it with powder, then it enables me to go in with other powder because the textures are the same, and I can actually go back and reinforce the contour. Now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing a neutral palette, right, such as this, which is great for contouring. And I'm going to go back in and really just press in some really soft taupe. Because what this does is it goes back and creates more of a realistic contour. So I'm reinforcing. I don't need as much because there's some that were already done with the foundation, and now I'm just reinforcing that with this powder. So let's tap the excess off and lightly going over the one underneath. And that's it. All you need is 1 or 2 strokes, and there you have it. Really soft, really sheer. And now that looks much more realistic, right? Brings it in, tailors the face, and tapers it. Now, while we're there, we can actually, if you choose to, go back and just tap the nose. Now, what you can do is, if you have a wider brush, or if you don't want to switch brushes, because this has already the pigment that you need on it, all you have to do, brush it off, pinch it, right? So it's a little bit more linear, not so round and fluffy, and just grab it and bring it down on the side of her nose, okay? And I always go back and add a little bit of foundation that was used to apply her complexion. I just stipple right over it so it embeds it and kind of pushes it back in and makes it look more realistic. There you go. Guys, you gotta have fun with it. You can't take contouring seriously, and especially in this day and age where it's all about the fun and the Kardashians and the contouring, right? You have to have fun, but you can actually have fun and do it the right way. And this is multi-dimensional, right? I did it with foundation first, then I powdered it, then I went back with powder contour and reinforced it, right? So now it has dimension and it has a lot of depth and it feels realistic and it looks beautiful. While we have that there, I can go back and just give it a little bit of luminosity, okay? So what I want to do is put like a solution. This is like a sheen, okay? And this is like a liquid that has a sheen to it. Again, a matte contour. I love a shimmer texture right above it, right? Really helps to bring it out. See? Beautiful. Nice and radiant, has a lot of texture. Looks great. I'm really happy with this result. Just again, going back, matting out what I don't want, and leaving what's dewy to give that beautiful radiance. And there you have it. It has contour, highlight, and a little bit of shimmer, just as if she were sun-kissed, or just catching light and having fun with it. Thank you guys for tuning in for this video tutorial on contouring, and thank you, Melanie, for being my amazing model. If you want to go back and look at some of the videos that we've done prior with Melanie, you can go back and see the brow and eye video and also eyelash video as well. So remember, only here can you find this amazing tutorials and videos on my app. Take care.